Hello everyone. In this video we'll continue with compare and contrast paragraphs and we'll focus on the patterns to show differences.
Another example. Traditional sports don't involve much risk. Extreme sports are dangerous in general. So we have much risk in traditional sports, but we don't have much risk in traditional sports, but we have some danger in extreme sports. So a contrasting idea. So we can combine these two sentences with, however, on the other hand, or in contrast. But please pay attention to the punctuation. You can combine it with a semicolon, lowercase letter, and the comma. The same with in contrast. Or full stop at the end of the first sentence, capital letter, and the comma. Okay. Here, you can also make the sentence in this way. Unlike traditional sports, extreme sports cause the release of endorphins. So, please closely look at the form of the word or words after these patterns. Unlike traditional sports, in contrast to traditional sports, as opposed to traditional sports, different from traditional sports. So mostly we have prepositions, so we have a noun after these let's say word phrases. Okay, we have a noun phrase. Another example, free diving differs from scuba diving in many ways, or in several ways, or in 3 ways. So you can say differs from or is different from to show your contrast. Also, if you want to give the difference in what aspect your let's say ideas are different, you can use in terms of, with respect to, again, and then after that you have a noun or a noun phrase. Free diving is different from or differs from scuba diving in that it doesn't require special equipment. So free diving is different from scuba diving in what terms? What is different in free diving? The free diving doesn't require special equipment. Okay. So we have a full sentence after in that. Free diving and scuba diving are different in that people use different equipments to do them. So again, we have a full sentence with the verb and the subject. Okay, the last, let's say, language structures that we're going to look at is comparative adjectives mostly. So, doing traditional sports is safer than doing extreme sports, or you can say is more common than or is less dangerous than. Remember, if we have a one syllable in the adjective, we have generally ER, IER forms, and if we have a longer words like having 2 or more syllables, then we have more or less before the adjective. So, if we are talking about the 2 things, sports here in this case, if they are, our focus is the equality, they are not equal, or they are equal, almost equal, then we use as structure. Traditional sports aren't as exciting as extreme sports, or traditional sports aren't as expensive as extreme sports, you can say. Traditional sports do not involve much risk, but extreme sports are dangerous in general, so we can use the linker but. Also, we can use whereas and while. You can say, whereas divers use special equipment in scuba diving, they don't use any equipment in free diving. So, on the one hand, we use, divers use special equipment. On the other hand, in free diving, people don't use any equipment. while is the same or similar with whereas, so you compare two things. On the one hand, the case is like this, on the other hand, like this. Be careful with the punctuation. If you put whereas one while at the beginning of your sentence, please put a comma. But if you put the main sentence at the very beginning, you don't have to put a comma in the middle of the sentence.
Please do practice 4 and 5 on page 7 in your handout. In these exercises, please rewrite the sentences using the clues in brackets. These exercises will help you to solidify and improve your language structures used in compare-contrast paragraphs.
Now that we have studied the language structures needed for compare-contrast paragraphs, I think we can move on to how to write a well-developed, organized, and coherent paragraph. I mean, the compare and contrast paragraph. So, let's closely look at how to write a topic sentence as supporting ideas and the concluding sentences. Let's start with the topic sentence. So here we go. Humans and chimpanzees are similar. So in this sentence, my topic is humans and chimpanzees. And I'm going to focus on the similarities. So this controls my topic. This way we have a closed topic sentence. But if I add these bases of comparison, like humans and chimpanzees are similar in terms of their skeletons and ability to communicate, then I have an open topic sentence. Let's go on with a specific example to understand it better. So on the left side, we have camping. On the right side, we have staying at hotels. So if we compare these two types of, let's say, relaxing, we can make such a sentence. There are certain similarities between camping and staying in hotels, or you can say there are many similarities between camping and staying in hotels, or there are several similarities, 2, 3, or more similarities between these two types. Also, of course, you can also refer to the differences in this way in your topic sentence. If you want to give more details in your topic sentence, or we can say your major supporting ideas or the basis of comparison, you can provide such a sentence in your paragraph. Blah blah and blah blah are different or similar in many ways, or they are similar or different in terms of blah blah and blah blah with respect to X and Y. So let's have a specific example. We can say camping and staying in hotels are different in many ways, in 3 ways, if you're going to talk about 3 different differences or similarities. Or you can say camping and staying in hotels are similar with respect to their cost and security. Also, you can have this structure as well, like rock climbing is different from wall climbing in many ways. Or you can use both things that you're comparing, like rock climbing and wall climbing are different in 2 ways. Or rock climbing is similar to wall climbing in 2 ways. Let's have more examples to understand it better. So we can also say humans and chimpanzees have certain characteristics in common, certain features in common, you can say, or several features in common. So if you want to have a closed topic sentence, you can use such language items. Let's move on to how to write a major supporting sentence. Before we talk about the details about major supporting sentences, it's better to remember that another key element in writing is to organize your paragraph really carefully if you want to have a very successful compare and contrast paragraph. In order to structure your paragraph, you need to select which things you're going to compare. Then you need to choose the specific points of comparison or factors that you will use to explain the similarities and differences you identify. And then after you decide, you can go back to the handout or this slide to remember which structures you can use as an alternative. So, let's say, again, we are comparing hotels and camping. The first or the second difference or similarity is the cost. You can use a noun or a noun phrase. You can say the second similarity is the money you spent. Or alternatively, you can say the first difference is that you spend less money while camping. So you can have a full sentence. Of course, you can also use one difference or one similarity is the cost, the money you spend, or that you spend less money while camping. Or if you use one in your first major supporting idea, then it's better to use another in your second major idea. Like one difference is the cost, another difference is the comfort, like that. In our major supporting idea, we can also use ordinal adverbs like first, second, or firstly, secondly, or first of all, and then you can have a full sentence in your major idea. Firstly, you spend less money while camping. When it comes to minor supporting ideas, meaning that when at the point where you have to elaborate on your idea, where you have to explain more, give an example, or give more details. Let's take a look at the order of the idea. So when you move on to your minor supporting idea, you can start from the obvious idea and then go on with the least obvious idea, or you can go from the most well-known to the least well-known, or from the least important to the most important. If you have a logic in your order, then you're on the right path. So let's have a look at the picture on the screen. So you see 3 stones on the right side and 3 stones on the left side. So this seems to be balanced in a way. In most of the writings, students tend to write more, or let's say longer, in their or for their first supporting idea. But when it comes to the second major supporting idea, their text becomes a little bit shorter. So here at this point, just to remind, please try to balance your major supporting ideas as much as you can. So as in this picture, the stones are not exactly the same on the right and on the left side, but they are similar. So try to stick to this rule when you write your paragraphs. Okay, let's move on to our minor supporting ideas. In your minor supporting ideas, you can elaborate or expand your ideas as much as you can. Remember, the first difference between staying in a hotel and camping is the cost. So you can exemplify, illustrate this major supporting idea by giving an example, let's say. So, for example, in a camp, you cook yourself. However, at a hotel, you need to pay quite a lot of money if it's not all inclusive. Or, as we said before, you can give more details about your major supporting idea, the cost here in this case. So let's see. While camping, you don't have many expenses. You might pay for a huge amount of money at a hotel. Okay, you give the cases in these two contexts. So far, so good. Now that we have learned how to write a topic sentence, a major supporting idea, and minor supporting ideas in a compare or contrast paragraph, we can go on with how to write a conclusion sentence. Although it says a conclusion sentence or a conclusion, you can also summarize your paragraph by wrapping up your major supporting ideas. Or you can conclude how you can make a recommendation, you can make an interpretation, so you can include your own idea in a way in your conclusion. So let's have a look at the first sentence here. To sum up, camping and staying in hotels have different traits in terms of their costs and comfort. So you give your major supporting ideas clearly in your conclusion sentence. Or you can say, to conclude, one should take these differences into consideration when choosing between camping and staying in a hotel. So you offer some space to the reader to decide on their choices. Here at this point, please go to your handout, page 10, and do practice 6 and 7.
So that's all for today's lesson. Now that we have learned how to write an effective compare and contrast paragraph, you can write one and give it to your instructor to get some feedback. I hope you have enjoyed the video. See you!